Hey, this is James Norris, and this is Synchro Setup Step 1. So what I've done now is, on the bottom left-hand corner, just click on the Start screen and go ahead and click on Synchro Professional. We're going to open up the software. If you don't see that, just in the search programs and files, just type in Synchro and go ahead and click on the program file. And Synchro will open up. If this is the first time you've used Synchro, and for most of you it will be, you're going to go ahead and see a window like this, and this is your welcome window. The things that are on this window are things like Synchro Help. On the bottom there is a 3D screen because this is a 4D scheduling program. So when we bring in 3D models, the screen below that has this graph on it that you see will show up. We'll go ahead and X that out here in a second because that won't be necessary. There are other options as well. You can create a new project in this location. You can also, this question mark, that checks the data about your computer, and that is also useful if, for instance, we're on version 4.74, but if you don't know what version you have, you can click on that question mark under the welcome screen as shown, and it'll tell you, if you click on that question mark, which version you have. If you have questions on that, you can go ahead and ask me and send me an email. So down here we have Resources, Gantt, and Browser. We're going to click on Gantt. And now we are to the actual scheduling view. And on the left-hand side we have a field, and that is where you type in the name of your task, the duration of your tasks. And on the right-hand side we have the actual where the Gantt bars are showing up. And on the bottom here, this is the 3D window again. We don't really need it, and we can save some real estate on our screen for the time being, so we'll go ahead and X out of that. Alright, so now we have an open view. So these little eyes that you see on the top screen, this is your navigator and your task properties windows. Okay, these are very important. They're how you run your schedule. They're how you run your project. Now I'm clicking on the navigator. The navigator is everything about your project. It's everything dealing with your data dates. There's filters on here, so you can do 6-week look ahead. You just click on the 6-week look ahead filter, and only things within 6 weeks of the date that you've set will show up. And you can print that out and give that to your subcontractors. You can do 1 week, 2-week look aheads as well. And now we're going to do task properties. This is where, in name, when we type a task in, all the information about that task will show up under task properties. And that's where you do your links, or you have information about your links, calendars, which calendar you're using for that task, etc. What I'm doing now is, if you don't like the location of these windows, you can host them to a different portion of the screen. So for instance, I'm hosting to the bottom of the screen here. If you like the existing version of SureTrack or P6 better and you want the windows on the bottom, that's where you can place it. That's purely up to you, and that really comes down to your own preferred ways of scheduling within Synchro here. It's all about what's most efficient and effective for you. How I did that is I held down the left control button on Navigator, or the left mouse button. And when I hold down the left mouse button, I can move that around. So that's how I did that. If you have more questions on that, just give us an email or a call at jamesnorris@beckgroup.com, or send an email to anybody within the BBG, and we'll get you taken care of on a little bit more of the formatting. So now what we're going to pull up is the home screen of mybeck.beckgroup.com, because the next big step in this section is getting the Synchro templates, and this is also going to be the location where we have our Beck Synchro manuals and means and methods manuals for Synchro, as well as all the videos and locations for those will be placed here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to scroll down. Alright, and see that installation, that's the 4.74 version, that's the one that we're currently supporting. And on the bottom, we're going to choose 4.740 Synchro template. The reason we have another template, the 4631 template, is that was an earlier version of Synchro that some are still using because we're transitioning into this version of Synchro. There's really not too much of a difference other than the newest version has a ribbon and some other things that talk better with P6 and some other our programs which are preferred. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the 4.740 Synchro template, and when we do this, it's going to download, or we're going to request to download that. So once we finally click on this 4.740 version, so go ahead and if you see where my mouse is hovering over, go ahead and click on that. And once we click on this, we're going to go ahead and choose to download. Now, if you're not sure where it has downloaded to, you can just go down to your start menu after you've downloaded it and type in downloads, and what that'll bring you to is your downloads folder, and a lot of times anything you download off the internet will go there, and that's where you can find it, and you can drag and drop it to a file called Synchro template, and at that point you can host it there, or host it on your desktop or on your server as your template file. That's it. Look forward to the next section. Thanks. Bye.